Hi, I'm Don Stinson, and I'm here to guide you through one of the most important steps in launching your nonprofit, setting up the organization the right way. So, first off, congratulations on taking this step. I'm a big fan of nonprofits. I've benefited from them in my life, and as I got older, decided to give back in the nonprofit world. Founded my own nonprofit to help my community out, and now I help others do the same through training and organization help and fundraising. So, I know paperwork and legal stuff are not the most exciting parts of starting a nonprofit, but trust me, if we get this right the first time, it's going to save us a lot of headaches later, and then you can focus on your mission. So by the end of this, you're going to have a clear roadmap for how to structure your nonprofit legally, financially, and strategically so you can focus on what really matters, your mission. All right, let's get started. A few years ago, I'm working with this nonprofit, or what I thought was a nonprofit, that was doing some great work. They were growing fast, passionate volunteers, but there was a problem. They never formally registered the organization. So when a $50,000 grant opportunity came up, they weren't eligible for it. They had done a ton of work, they had started having some impact in their community, but they missed out on some funding because they didn't have their paperwork in order. And that's why all of this matters. When you set up properly, you're going to stay legally compliant, you'll manage your finances correctly, and you're going to build credibility with donors and partners. Most importantly, this sets us up for long-term success. So let's start with the foundation, which is our mission and our values. The mission and values should be crystal clear. If somebody asks, you should be able to explain this to them without even thinking about it. A strong mission statement is going to tell people exactly who you serve and how. For example, we provide free music education to underserved youth in the south suburbs of Chicago. We've got our who and we have our how. And with that one too, we have a location, which helps niche this down even further. Now let's think of a weak mission statement. We help people through music. It's just too vague. Doesn't give any of our potential supporters a reason to donate, support, or even ask questions about it. It's just a vague statement. So if you can see the difference, one of these is painting a clear picture, and the other just leaves a lot of questions that, again, the supporter may not even want to ask. So that mission statement should be short, specific, and memorable. Let's think about one or two sentences max. If you can't say it in 10 seconds, we need to simplify it. All right, let's save you some frustration and some time here. Keep your name simple and clear. I've had groups I've worked with that have picked long and complicated names. They sound impressive, but no one can remember it. Even the board members keep messing the name up. So here's what to do instead. Find a name that's short and memorable. Check that the domain name is available because you are going to need a website. That's one of the first things that donors and supporters are going to check for. Is this group credible? Are they online? And then we want to make sure it sounds professional and isn't too niche. The big thing I would recommend on this though is don't spend weeks stressing over branding. Your mission is a lot more important than your name at this stage. If you're like me, I get caught with naming things, or if I have to create any graphic on Canva, oh my gosh, I'm spending just minutes and minutes and sometimes hours trying to create the perfect name or the perfect graphic there. We just want it to be short, memorable, to the point, so we can move on. Your board is your leadership team. But here's a mistake I've seen way too often. People stack their board with friends and family who support them, but don't actually do anything. We've had some nonprofit boards that have 7 board members, but when it comes time to fundraise, only one person is taking action and everyone else is just sitting there. Your board is going to make or break your nonprofit. If you feel great about your mission and you have a board that is literally on board with this and knows how to make this mission move forward, you will be wildly successful. If you have a board that isn't quite sure what action they should take or wants to be very passive, unfortunately, this is where most nonprofits end up dead in the water. That board is the lifeblood of your nonprofit. It's very important to find engaged people who believe in your mission. We also want to have at least one person on our board with financial experience, and we want board members who show up and contribute. Now, some people aren't sure where to find board members at. Again, it could be really easy just to look in your friends and family network and go with maybe your first connections, right? Somebody that you speak to often, or maybe a close family member. And I think that's an important place to start, but I think it's also important for us to expand a little bit to maybe our second and third connections. My board, for example, has a retired teacher on it. We also have a person that has a master's in nonprofit administration on our board. We have a composer, we have a theater teacher, and we have a person that works in corporate finance. It's diverse enough in those people's career that we are able to make some decisions carefully and impact our community through our mission, which is funded financially. By having a strong board, we also have more connections because our board members know people in our community, and our community is going to be the group that comes out and makes our mission possible. So we want to find those engaged people, we want the financial experience, and we want people that will show up and contribute. A small committed board is way better than a large inactive one. So I stress you, go through your personal network. Don't invite people to be a board member yet, but mention that you have this project going on and that you are looking for interested and committed people. You may find that your friend isn't a great fit, but that they know the local bank manager in town who aligns with your mission. I should also say that a strong nonprofit board commits financially to the organization. So with all of the groups that I work with, it's an expectation that their board commits financially to the mission. Might not be millions of dollars, right? But if we can get every board member committing something, then we can tell everyone else our board 100% financially supports our nonprofit. And if our board supports it, other people will be more encouraged to. So this is our first legal step in forming our nonprofit. One mistake I see is that people rush through this process and forget to include IRS required language. Then, when they apply for tax exempt status, they get rejected. Now, if you get rejected, don't feel bad. People get rejected all of the time on their first, sometimes second, sometimes even third go around to get 501c3 or tax exempt status. So take your time with this and make sure too that we file with our state's Secretary of State. We want to include our mission, our board members, our registered agent, and we want to double, I might even say triple check those IRS requirements before submitting them. And a big tip on this is that some states have free templates, so use these. You're going to find out when you get into your nonprofit that time really seems to go away pretty quickly. So if we don't have to reinvent the wheel and we can use a template, go for it. Make this step easier. And I can't recommend enough another resource, which is the NOLO book, Starting a Nonprofit. So visit nolo.com, NOLO.com, and it's going to give you all of the information that you need to make sure that you're legally compliant and that your nonprofit can enjoy the benefits of being a 501c3 or a tax-exempt group. When we talk about governing documents, we're typically talking about your bylaws. And the bylaws are like the rule book for how your nonprofit runs. I've seen organizations fall apart because they did not set clear rules. I've had a group I had to come in and work with. They had a board member who refused to step down after their term expired because their bylaws did not define term limits. So I always urge people when they're creating their bylaws, it's not a bad thing to put some fail safes in there. Even if on your board you've got your best friends in the world and people that you know and trust, things can change, and it's easier to have some of these items outlined at the beginning now, so then later on you don't have to have troubling discussions over these items. When you have bylaws, we're typically looking at how our board decisions are made, what our board term limits and officer roles are, and any conflict of interest policies. You may have some people on your board that have a conflict of interest, for example, with your mission, or maybe some people may say, hey, is somebody else, actually making a profit off of this mission somehow? So we want to make sure that in our bylaws, all of this is outlined. The short version of this, if we have well-written bylaws, we're going to be able to prevent a lot of drama, and we will keep things running very smoothly. Okay, here's the good news. Getting your EIN is really fast and free. This is our employee identification number. Some groups want to delay this for weeks. They think it's very complicated, but you can apply for this online in 5 minutes at irs.gov. I'll also put this warning out there. Make sure that we are going to official IRS websites or official websites for your states. There will be groups out there, or companies out there, I should say, that will want to charge you an obscene amount of money for something like registering your nonprofit or making sure your EIN number is correct. These are scams. You do not need to do any of those items. They'll get the job done for you, but they are going to take your nonprofit's money from it. So irs.gov, 5 minutes, we can get our EIN number. So now once you have that EIN, we can take that to the bank. We want to make sure we have all the required documents, our EIN number, articles of incorporation, and our bylaws. After that, we're going to choose a bank. We want to find one that's a nonprofit friendly bank, meaning they have options for a nonprofit checking and or savings account. I like to suggest people find a local bank, partly because I like just keeping my business in the community. Also, I feel sometimes if I'm working with the community, they are more inclined to help my organizations out as well. But if you don't have that option, a lot of the big branches are able to help here as well. And then we want to bring in at least 2 people to make sure that we have multiple signers. Remember, this is not your bank account or the board's bank account. This is the nonprofit's bank account. So having 2 signers just keeps everyone accountable, and most banks will require this one anyway. So you want to make sure that when you talk to this bank, that you know the requirements, and in some instances you may even just have to sign up to do an appointment ahead of time, and they'll tell you all of the information that you need. When you get there, this is also a great time. Ask about fee waivers, ask about any special programs that they may have for nonprofits. It does not hurt to ask, and chances are if you're involved with a nonprofit, you're going to be asking a whole bunch of people a lot of questions. So this is the perfect time to practice on that. And just as a reminder, keep your personal and nonprofit finances separate. It's just a giant IRS red flag if you don't, and it just keeps everything overly complicated. So keep non-profit and personal finances separate always. And just when you thought you were done, guess what? There's more paperwork. So this is where we become an official tax-exempt nonprofit. So here's what you need to know. If we qualify, we're going to submit Form 1023 EZ, or Form 1023, and we can find that on the IRS website. We want to provide our bylaws, financial projections, and our mission statement. We've talked about bylaws. For financial projections, if you're a new nonprofit, let's go kind of low under that. So if you determine that, hey, we're probably going to be bringing in around $10,000 or $15,000 a year, we can put that number down. We would then qualify for the very simple version of the 1023, the 1023 Easy. And those are for groups that anticipate that they'll bring in under $50,000. We want to be very patient with this. The IRS approval takes time. So if you're applying on a Friday and you want to get going on Monday, the answer is no. Sometimes we just have to wait. The IRS is going to take their sweet time. You will then get a letter in the mail, and oftentimes for people, this application can be rejected the first time. Don't panic though. As we mentioned before, we can revise this and resubmit it. And often the IRS is more than willing to get on the phone and tell you exactly what you need to do. Just remember, we have to be very, very particular when working on these applications for the IRS. So we revise, we resubmit it, and then we wait again, and then we are approved. Yay. We're approved. We've got 501c3 status. We're tax exempt. We've got our articles, our bylaws. We've got a great mission statement. Everybody knows our name. So now we have our first board meeting. And this is where everything comes together. Beforehand, we want a detailed agenda, right? We want a plan that everybody can look at and be comfortable with and know where their time is going. During this meeting, we want to record all of the decisions that are being made. It can be simple as writing it down, Google Docs. We just always want to log in a record of this. Afterwards, we want to distribute some official minutes for this. You can look online. It's usually Robert's Rules of Order that a lot of groups use. In my opinion, you don't have to read the whole book for this. I believe you can just go and find some summaries of this, and this is fine for most groups. But in this PowerPoint too, there's a clickable link that you can use to find a meeting template for some structure. My advice on these first board meetings are to make sure that we approve or review the bylaws again. We elect any more officers that we might need to have, and that we set some fundraising goals. A lot of times these first meetings are a little bit cyclical. You have to decide on one item, but that item can't be decided on until this other item can be decided on. We're going to take our time. We're just going to have patience. We are going to understand that we are going after a mission and that everybody is here to make this mission work. So we want to have, again, a detailed plan. We want to have that mission or projects and set goals that we can reasonably attain to make this mission go forward. This is where the work starts, and this is the exciting part. So what's next after this? We're checking off everything on our nonprofit starter kit checklist that I've supplied in this folder or in the comments. And that's where we can start planning our first fundraising campaign, which is going to be the next video in this series. And if you need help, love to work with you. Reach out anytime for some expert guidance on this. I'm Don Stinson. Thanks for watching. I'm excited to build something great together with you.